Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here, and we're doing another Aether Revolt draft. If you like the content on this channel, please subscribe and like the videos. Thank you. Okay, so we opened Quicksmith Rebel again. If this were a PTQ, I would take it. However, Fatal Push is worth 5.5 tickets right now. I know, it's just an uncommon, and it's worth a fortune. So we're going to take the fortune, and it also happens to be a very playable limited card. However, like I said, if this were a PTQ, I would take the Rebel because I think this card is very good. This pack also has Poisoner, which is good. I like the Champion. I like Daring Demolition. All of these cards are good. I love Bandar. So a lot of good cards in here, but we're going to take the extremely high value card and continue. Okay, so strongest card in this pack. Well, Caught in the Brights is removal. We have the Iron Tread Crusher, which is a good vehicle. We have Lifecraft Awakening, which I like. And we have Aether Poisoner, which stays on with the Fatal Push, but maybe we just take the Caught in the Brights. I'm okay with that. I think some people like this card more than I do. I think it's perfectly fine. However, you still can crew a vehicle, so I like Revoke Privileges more. And I never was like a huge fan of Revoke Privileges. I could actually go more of a green-black route. I've been meaning to go like a Revolt count, +1/+1 counter Revolt deck, but maybe we just take the removal here and be patient and see what's flowing. I'm okay with that. Okay, we'll take the Caught. The Caught in the Brights. All right, Gonti's Aetherheart. Cool for an energy deck, actually. You can just keep getting artifacts. You know, it's just too expensive, I think, is the major issue here. All right, so we have a Shock, which is obviously good. We have Aether Poisoner. We have the Herder, which isn't that great. The Harpooner, which nothing to write home about. Probably just take the Shock. We are going to be patient here, folks. Very, very patient. And as soon as I start seeing some sort of synergistic thing available to me, I'll jump on that. But for now, we'll take the Shock and kind of leave ourselves to 3 different colors removal spells to help better figure out where we're supposed to be. Okay, so we have Perilous Predicament now. Good removal. Probably the best card remaining in here. There's also a Prey Upon, but we can take the Predicament here, definitely. I think this card is pretty good. So sack 2 creatures for 5. Add instant speed, no less. Pretty good, actually. Let's see. There's Implement of Ferocity, which I like. The Brawler. Like I said, I like Tampering more than most, I think, now. This has gone up a lot for me. I think it's versatile enough where you're happy enough main decking it, and you can get a lot of value out of it. So I like that, but we'll take the Predicament. We'll take it. Okay. Okay, so we have Enraged Giant, which is fine. Kind of pushes us towards a artifact thing. I like the Giant more than the Assembler. We have a Renegade map, which we could take. It might actually let us splash, go a little bit deeper. Resourceful Return is a very good card. Currently rocking 0 creatures, which I guess is a little worrisome, but that's okay. We could just take the Brawler. I mean, this card is definitely good. It's going to move us deeper into red-black, which is probably fine. I guess if we take the map, we're still a little bit more open. But Brawler is not really a card you cut too often, I don't think, even if you don't have a ton of artifacts. The fact that it has Menace is quite good. I'm going to take the Brawler here. Okay, so here I feel like Cavalry is kind of far and away the best, but maybe not. We have Decommission, which is very, very playable as well. We have Baral, which I kind of like, actually. Just makes your stuff cheaper at a low cost. It's really actually pretty good. I don't think Wrangle or Getaway are good enough. Not when we have like actual powerful cards in here remaining. I could just take Baral like I said, it's a late cavalry, which is surprising. I'm just going to take the rare here because I'm interested in it. All right, Tezzeret's Touch. I kind of like this card. We have the Inventor, a Consulate Turret, a Dispersal Technician, and a Gear Smasher as well. So Tezzeret's Touch can turn implements into 5/5s, which is not bad, actually. And you get it back. It's kind of cool, actually. It's really cool. Probably don't want the Consulate Turret. Nothing in here really standing out as like super, super good. I'm going to take the Tezzeret's Touch because I'm kind of interested in it. We'll see if it manages to pan out or not. Well, Reverse Engineer is a strong blue card. I probably like it more than Rebuke, Night Market Guard, Crawler, and Walker, although all of those are fine too. But maybe, yeah, maybe blue-black is something we can work on, and maybe we can even fix for this Shock, although Splashing Shock probably makes less sense than Splashing Caught in the Brights. That's probably a true statement. But let's take the Engineer. We're going to actually need some artifacts at some point, right? All right, so we have a late Rebel, Gear Smasher, we have an Inventor, and a Technician, both in blue. Maybe we just take the Guard now to get an artifact. Kind of makes sense to me. Could just take the Technician. I don't really love these two cards, but they're both fine. I think we'll take the Guard, get an artifact. Ooh, well, Wheeling Crusher is kind of nice. We also have Negate, which I like a lot. I think because it counters vehicles, it's quite good. But I kind of want the Crusher. I think this is a good vehicle. It's a good finisher. And it helps you with your improvise. I mean, we can sort by color for now because we're not exactly sure what we're doing, right? We're still trying to figure that out. There's also a Defiant Salvager in there, which is good for Revolt, but I don't need it. So I probably could just take another Guard over the Rebuke. Although, I mean, Rebuke's fine. I don't think it's... I prefer my counters to be hard counters in Limited. It's probably fine, though, but we'll take the second Guard. The Guard is better than it looks, I think. I think this card kind of gets a bad reputation. I'm certainly not saying it's great, but it's playable and it's better than it looks. We'll take the Technician here, I think, over the Tampering, although... Do I like my blue cards or my red cards more? It's pretty close. I think I'm just going to take the Technician. Okay, Ice Over, certainly playable. And I guess we can take an artifact. All right, so what are we doing exactly? We're likely wanting to be blue-black. Well, opening blue rare, that's a good card, is nice. Anything else in here? We have Cruel Finality. And another Shock, but we'll take the Spy. This card is good. Definitely good. So, okay. Spy it is. Now it's more like, are we for sure black? Well, we got the Daring Demolition, which is very good. It seems like it's probably the best card in here, right? Yeah, all right. We'll take the Demolition. Go towards a blue-black plan. For now, let's separate non-blue and black spells to sort of have a better idea of where we're at right now. Okay, a little bit top-heavy, but that's all right. We'll take the Daring Demolition. Hard removal, like I said. So we need some more low-curve stuff. Well, Aether Poisoner is great. We have a Fen Hauler now. And, yeah, it feels like a pretty easy Aether Poisoner. It can get artifacts for our Improvise. It can block the world. And it's a cheap spell, so I like it. Okay, so choices now. We have another Tezzeret's Touch, which I'm still kind of willing to play. If you can resolve it, it's kind of cool. It's not like it's a... If you resolve it, you don't really get 2-for-1, right? Because you get your card back. I guess you get 2-for-1 if you put it on a token. Otherwise, I could put it on the Automaton. I'm not exactly sure if I can wheel either of these. I'm a little more interested in the Tezzeret's Touch because I want to see if it's as good as I think it is. But To be honest, I'm a little bit unsure how good it is. It feels like it's good. I mean, you need enough artifacts to support it. I understand that. I think we'll take the second one. I want to try it out. So we have another Crusher. We have a Fen Hauler. We have another Universal Solvent, which I'm not in love with. An Implement that we can't play. Don't need the Scuttler. Guess we can take another Crusher. Alright, we'll take a second Crusher, I think. Okay, well, we got the Automaton now, so I'm going to take that over the Sly Requisitioner. I'm not sure if this card's that good. I mean, it's kind of cool alongside the touch. You can just get the 1/1s that you can make big, but I think I'd rather just take an Automaton. This card has proven itself to be pretty good. Okay, so now we have the Hornet. Another Fen Hauler, Alley Strangler. Probably want the Hornet. Do we have creatures with +1/+1 counters? I guess not, right? Well, that could be a problem, but it does fly, so... And we might still have time to find some. So here's Gonti's Machinations. We could take the Implement. We could take another Guard. Implement's just cool because it works well with the Tezzeret's Touch. Turn 2, Implement. Turn 3, Tezzeret's Touch. If it dies, draw a card, get it back to your hand. I kind of like that, actually. I think we're going to take it over the third Guard. I don't think Gonti's Machinations is all that good, especially for us anyway. And a third Crusher is probably getting a bit too much. We could take the Drake, actually. The Drake flies. This card's actually proven itself to be pretty decent. But I want these Tezzeret. I want to... Basically... I think the Flyer's better in a vacuum, but for this deck, I think I want to have enough gas for these Tezzeret's Touch. I want to make sure that we can resolve those and beat down hard. So here I can take Resourceful Return. We absolutely at this point have enough artifacts where I think we're going to be able to get very good value out of this. I guess the main issue with it is you want good creatures to return, but we do have Quicksmith Spy. I guess we could return Baral. All right. So, I mean, we can take the Rebuke. It does occur to me that Baral gives you value when you counter something, so I guess we can take it. It's certainly playable. What do I like more here? Take into Custody, which I feel like is more for a tempo deck. Although, yeah, it doesn't even really have Ice Over synergy. You have to 2-for-1 yourself to do it. Maybe I just want this Leave in the Dust. The Stratagem, I guess, is cool, but... You have to have Enter the Battlefield abilities. We have a couple, but I'm going to take the Leave in the Dust. I think it's a good card. Okay, we can take the Fen Hauler now. We could take the Welder Automaton, but I don't think we're going to be able to make that work. But we'll take the Fen Hauler. I guess we'll take all the Fen Haulers. So we're trying to be like an improvised deck, which I'm fine with. We still could potentially splash Caught in the Brights. Because I feel like we're a bit removal light, right? We have Fatal Push, Ice Over. Well, Daredevil's good. Operative is very good, though, too. And I think because we're a little clunked up on the 4-drop slot, I'd prefer to have the Operative. On top of that, besides being a cheap, amazing common, it works really well with the Crusher. You play the Crusher, and now you can suddenly crew it with the Operative. I like that a lot. I think the Daredevil's good. I think we're already a little bit top-heavy enough where I would prefer to not play that. I think I just value the cheap awesomeness of Operative a little bit more. So we're going to take Operative pretty happily, I think. Well, Insidious Will is actually kind of cool. I actually really like this card, and it's kind of cool with Baral. It's cheaper, and you can get the loot effect off of it. So I probably just take the rare here. There's Shrewd Negotiation, which would be playable in here too, like giving a Malice, especially if they can't use it, could be good. There's a P-Foul, a Malfunction, a Broker in here, but we'll take the Will. We'll take the Insidious Will. Like I said, I like Insidious Will more than the Rebuke, so it makes sense to me. Well, eliminate the competition's actually kind of good. There's a Screecher in here as well, though, which flies. We are going to need some more creatures. I feel like if you have a low creature count like we do, you're really not going to be able to use eliminate the competition very effectively. Foundry Screecher, on the other hand, flies. It's just good. There's a Puzzle Knot in here, which I would also like alongside our Tezzeret's Touch, but I think we might be able to find another one or wheel one. And the fact that Screecher flies and once again also works really well with the Crusher, I think gives that the nod here over the Steed and more 4-drops and stuff. So let's just get that. Okay. Well, Era of Innovation, is an actual fine card. I guess we don't really need it for this deck, though. We have some Artificers. We have Artifacts, obviously, but am I just doing this to draw cards? I think we can already draw cards, right? We have Reverse Engineer and Quicksmith Spy, so we don't need that. I could take the Skygate. Problem is it doesn't work particularly well with the Tezzeret's Touch because it has Defender. I could take the Serpent. I mean, I like the Serpent more than I like Fenhauler, so okay. I guess I could do that. But maybe we just want the Aetherborn. It gives us artifacts, and it's a decent body. I don't know, actually. I'm going to take the Serpent. I think the Serpent has some more value towards the end of the game. You can get in a little more effectively. I like Aetherborn Marauder, even if you really can't capitalize on the +1/+1 counter, which we really can't in this deck. I still think it's just a good card. Like, I like it more than Foundry Hornet for us. Which is kind of funny because both of them want us to have +1/+1 counters, but I kind of just like it in a vacuum. I think a 4-mana 2/2 flying lifelink is just good enough. So we have Rush of Vitality, but I probably want this Construct to get a cheap artifact that scries, and then we can put a Tezzeret's Touch on it and be happy enough about that. So we're going to take this over the Rush and over the Tezzeret's Ambition. Okay, wow. This is cool. So we could take another Construct. We have the Inventor's Goggles. We have a Peafowl. Peafowl is pretty good with the Tezzeret's Touch. There's also Theorist, which is just good because it scries, but I kind of want some more artifacts. I'd like to really make sure we have enough artifacts for our Serpent, and basically just so we have Quicksmith Spy value, Tezzeret's Touch value, all those. And we have enough 4-drops, which kind of makes me not want to take the Peafowl. We're going to take the Construct. We're going to go for a lower curve deck here. Okay. Well, we can take the Peafowl now. I might just be able to find space for this, honestly. Take it over the Blade Master. Okay. Hopefully, I'd like to wheel the... Well, Rush versus Trade Winds. That's interesting. Rush is quite good. Trade Winds works a lot better when you have Enter the Battlefield effects, which we have a few, but not a ton. All right, we'll take the Rush. I think the lifelink on that can come up pretty big. So here's a Malfunction, which is hard removal, or another chance at Aetherborn, which is just good. What's our removal currently? Fatal Push, Ice Over, some Death Touch dudes, Rush of Vitality, Daring Demolition. I feel like we're kind of good on removal. I'm going to take the Aetherborn. I feel like that card's pretty good. Ooh, well, we did get the Puzzle Knot back. I kind of want to take this, although the problem is we don't need the energy. It does work with like our... Mostly I just wanted the Puzzle Knot because of Scry 2 plus Tezzeret's Touch seems really good to me. But maybe we just want the Windrake. I don't really love Windrake, though. It's okay. It does fly. I'm going to take the Puzzle Knot. Okay, got the Era of Innovation, which is also fine. Take the Blade Master over the Revolutionary Rebuff, I think. We have enough counter spells. Another one, okay. All right, so I think we're going to be able to make this deck work. I want to see, once again, I want to see how good Tezzeret's Touch is. I feel like that card's going to potentially be pretty good because we have enough 2-drop artifacts where we can fairly reliably go artifact attacking for 5 on turn 3, which is just strong. It's just strong. Okay. So we can probably cut the fen haulers. We're going to cut some of our top end stuff. We're really going to try and focus on what this deck wants to do to win reliably. And we're going to have to cut just a boatload of these 4-drops, but that's okay too. I'm not overly concerned about that. So I think we can pretty easily ditch the fen hauler. I like Serpent more, and I still think we have enough artifacts where we can pretty reliably play this for 5 mana. I think the Construct can go. I don't really like Dispersal Technician all that much anyways, which makes me kind of just want to cut that too. Era of Innovation's fine because we have enough artifacts to get it, but like I said, we already have the means to draw cards, right? We have the Quicksmith Spy as well as Reverse Engineer. Both of these are great card advantage, so we probably just don't need the Era of Innovation. What else we want to do here? Caught in the Brights is gone. We're not going to splash for it. I think we can easily get rid of some of these not very good counter spells. Like we can get rid of Rebuke and Failed Inspection pretty easily. If I'm going to run one, I definitely want to run the Insidious Will. I think Leaving the Dust is going to go too. We basically, I really want to make sure that we cut enough of our 4-drops because we don't want to be super 4-drop heavy with no ramp especially. So Leaving the Dust feels like it can get cut, and I think even the Hornet can get cut too. I like the Marauder more than the Hornet just because, like I said, both of them kind of want us to have +1/+1 counter stuff, but the only way we can get +1/+1 counters is what? Aetherborn? Is that right? I think so. We're also going to cut the Blade Master as well. I think it's just something it's probably actually fine for our deck, but I think I'd rather focus on artifact creatures. So 14 creatures, and we still have a lot of cuts to make, so we have to look at our spells. I'd prefer to not cut more creatures. I guess Tezzeret's, well, Renegade's Gateway can go. We don't need that. The Crushers, I guess, are kind of creatures too, sort of. So our removal is what? Fatal Push, Rush of Vitality is kind of removal, Ice Over is kind of removal, Demolition, Predicament. So we have enough removal spells. We can start looking at other things to ditch here. What are the bombs I want to return with Resourceful Return? The only reason I want Resourceful Return is basically 2 mana, return a bomb artifact, draw a card. Like that is, or return a bomb creature rather, draw a card. Because we're pretty reliably going to have an artifact, I think, right? What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe, because this can make them 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, we have like a ton of artifacts, which I do think makes Resourceful Return good value. Yeah, so I would even understand running 17 lands in this deck. Maybe I don't want double Crusher. I could see cutting a Crusher, actually. Like, we still have the double Tezzeret's Touch, which I feel like functions similarly to Crusher, believe it or not, just because you basically get a cost-effective beater. You could put Tezzeret's Touch on Crusher. That's actually kind of funny. But I think we'll cut a Crusher. Just cuts back on our 4-drops a bit, which I think is better for us overall. And I still have to make at least 3 cuts if I want to run 16, and 4 cuts if I want to run a 17 land deck. Well, how's our curve look right now? Our curve actually looks pretty good. This is going to be difficult. I'm not... What are the weakest cards in our deck? It's probably Implement, but Implement is basically just here for the Tezzeret's Touch, which maybe it doesn't need to be. Like, I like the Puzzle Knot more than the Implement. But the funny thing about that is the Implement actually... Yeah, the Implement draws you a card off the Tezzeret's Touch, which is quite good. But I still think Puzzle Knot with Tezzeret's Touch is probably better. Like, Scry 2 is not as good as draw a card, but it's close. And I feel like just getting the immediate value of Puzzle Knot and then putting a Tezzeret's Touch on it later if I have to just seems better. Admittedly, the energy is not super relevant in here at all Basically, it's good with Poisoner, which is not much. Not much at all, but that's okay. I think we'll cut the Implement. I kind of want to get away with 16 lands. I don't think it's super greedy either, because this, we assume, is going to be able to play cheaper. Like, we would hope we can at least play it for 4 mana. Gearseeker Serpent, we're hoping we can play for 5 mana. And then the rest of our deck is fairly cheap, and we have a lot of scry effects, and this makes stuff cheaper. This makes a good portion of our deck cheaper, right? Like, it makes the Rush cheaper, the Return, makes the Demolition, the Will, the Engineer, the Predicament. So we have like 6 or 7 spells that get cheaper with Baral, which is quite good, actually. So 2 more cuts. Maybe the Ice Over can go. It's fine removal, but I'd rather play a Rush of Vitality. Not just because it synergizes with Baral, but I think it's actually just a better card. Like, I'd rather play a combat trick that gains me life and kills something than something that makes it so they likely have to deal damage to me first before I stop it, which makes Ice Over a little bit worse, I think. So I think we'll cut the Ice Over, and then I have to make 1 more cut. And actually, yeah, Ice Over is much worse with Perilous Predicament as well. Definitely something to keep in mind, which I'm glad I just noticed that. So you really don't want to play enchantment-based removal when you have sack effects like Perilous Predicament. Granted, it's not like it's going to come up every game, but it can be something you regret later. So 1 more cut. Maybe it's the Resourceful Return. I really do like this card a lot, but we have other means to get value, right? We have the Quicksmith Spy and the Reverse Engineer, both of which I think I like more than Resourceful Return. But I really do like Resourceful Return too. A little bit difficult, but I think the Return's going to go. It could be the Rush too, but then I think we're a little bit lower on removal than I'd like at that point. We do have the Death Touchers, but like Fatal Push, Rush, Daring Demolition, Perilous Predicament, that's a good removal suite, I think. Fairly effective removal package. So, all right, we'll cut the value spell because like I said, I think we have enough value anyway in this deck where we should be fine. And if I run it like this, does it look good? Yeah. Our curve is still pretty good, a little bit 4-drop heavier than I like. I guess we're a bit color intensive as well. I'd prefer to not cut another creature though. And we do have scry effects, 3 scry effects at 2 if we're looking for a land. I think we can get away with 16 lands here. Like I said, we're a little bit heavy on the 4-drop slot, which makes that a little bit more dangerous perhaps. But I don't want to cut another creature. If I were going to cut a 4-drop now, I guess it would either be the Marauder or the Peafowl. Peafowl has better synergy with the deck. Marauder, I think, is a better card in a vacuum. They both are pretty good because they fly. Maybe I could bring back the Resourceful Return and maybe just cut the Marauder. Because I only have 1 card that actually gives me value with Marauder anyway. Or I could actually play the Marauder and maybe cut the Aetherborn. And what this does is keep our curve a little bit lower. Granted, it guarantees that we can't get value. We can't get a value play off Marauder, but Marauder is just good. As like a flyer that gains life, it's just good. So maybe I like it more than the Aetherborn. And then we're 4-drop heavy, but... How many artifacts do we have? 1... 2, sort of, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we're down to 9 artifacts, which is still more than enough. I think I'm okay running it like this. Our curve is not insanely bad. We definitely have the means to win, right? We've got the Fatty, we have the Tezzeret's Touch, which I'm kind of excited to see if they're good or not. Yeah, I think we're going to run it like this. So we have 3 double blue, we have 1 double black, and we have a lot of brown, which is good. So we're probably going to end up just doing an even split, I think. They agree. So overall, I don't know how I feel about this deck yet. It really is going to be, I think, determined on how good Tezzeret's Touch is. Hopefully it's as good as I think it is, because like I said, being able to just go Puzzle Not Touch is like, that's pretty strong. That could just put somebody away, honestly. Turn 3 attacking with a 5/5 is pretty awesome. So we'll try it out like this, I think. We'll see what I think of this. I've got high hopes for this deck, but we'll see if we can get there. So, all right, we'll run it like this. We'll see you in round 1.